Hi, this is Joe Wood, and this presentation is a peer article review for my Fort Hays State University Transition to Teaching program. The article was written by Elizabeth, I don't know, I'm not sure how to say her last name, Bermoja, something. Um, the title of the article is Foregrounding the Disciplines in Secondary Literacy Teaching and Learning, a Call for Change. And so it's um, the background on the article deals with, or sorry, it was produced in October of 2008, so obviously it's a little bit older. Um, and I think a lot of the things that's actually advocated for have started to happen, I think. The publisher was the International Literacy Association, and it was published in the Journal of Adult and Adolescent Literacy in volume 52, issue 2. So the gist or the summary, basically, Elizabeth makes um, hints that it's going to be more productive in education if we build disciplinary literacy instructional programs. And so this idea that rather than simply merging content teachers and getting them to employ literacy teaching practices is to kind of merge that and create discipline like literacy programs specific to certain content areas. So I thought it was interesting. Obviously that would be, and as I think of this class, it's one of the reasons why this article kind of caught me. I realize it's not 100% like it's not my content area, but it's definitely very relative to the module that we're in the middle of, Module 5, in our course. And I just really like this idea. And obviously, it would do a lot of that piece, that build, those building blocks, is what we're being encouraged to do right now in this class. So I talked about new media and new literacy practices are important to the disciplines, right? Various different disciplines, and then content literacy instruction can help our youth gain access to acceptable knowledge of their disciplines, while so this ability to intermix literacy instruction with within the teaching of those particular disciplines. And so ideas that this kind of got me to thinking about was how to integrate our approach to literacy. And one of the reasons, again, why this article kind of caught my eye is I was working with one of my classes, and I had one of my students, and we are just kind of having a conversation and whatnot. And I ended up finding out that there was another um, an assignment that they have to do for their junior and senior English class. And I was like, oh, I love that assignment. If I could make like this one little tweak to it, it would work for me. And what I like about that is because English literacy, sentence structure, all of the pieces of make up sentences and writing and whatnot, like, those are all things I kind of took for granted growing up. And I feel like I understand them and I'm a decent writer. But when it comes to breaking down a sentence and teaching the students about it fundamentally, that's an area of weakness for me. It's kind of out of my wheelhouse. And so this ability for me to take an assignment that was already kind of instructed and taught, and so I know that my students learn this in their junior English class, that if I have a class with students that are junior and higher, that they should be introduced to this by their second semester. And so it was a great way for me to kind of segue and increase the writing, reading, literacy component in my class, while not necessarily having to be as quite as confident in the instruction of that, the kind of the background information that, or the background knowledge that students would need to rely on to complete that assignment. And so I think that really it's the idea is to kind of integrate our approach to literacy, collaborate with, in my mind, with the literacy specialists, which is a lot of times our English department in our buildings, and to work across those disciplines. I think those are kind of the ideas behind this paper, this article. And so my suggestions, this article isn't necessarily content specific, so it's really easy for people to adapt. So depending on what your content area is, like really what this is just encouraging and research based, to that we need to do this collaboration. We need to collaborate with our reading, writing, literacy specialists in our building, and that would be my challenge, I guess, to my peers in this class watching this video, is that to go meet with an English teacher, go meet with, a librarian, or, academic coach, or whatever it is. And, I guess I challenge you, not to toot my own horn, I guess, but, challenge you to try to um, create an assignment that is similar to another, in another class. It's cross-curricular, so to speak. Um, and then questions, I would say, how do you plan to integrate literacy into your content area? How can you, reach across the aisle, so to speak, into another department and pull from their ideas and something that's kind of streamlined. My students liked it because they'd already kind of half done the assignment. And so all they had to do was they already had the building blocks for this assignment, and then they just tweaked it to make it content specific. Um, and I think some of what the article even kind of hinted at was this idea of, by the time you get to middle school and high school, don't take this wrong, but it was almost like, should we have English class, or should English just be being taught through co-teaching and these integrated practices? And so I thought that was kind of interesting, rather than forcing kids to take English class, that we would have more integrated components within our content areas that could potentially, yeah, I don't know. So that was kind of something that they kind of hinted at, but never really quite said. So it was something that kind of, what if we did do that? What if we didn't? If we removed English class per se and created co-teaching situations where an English teacher would be over these departments, or whatever, and that they would almost be like academic coaches as to how do you integrate English reading, writing, in the students that have chosen and selected these pathways. So, but anyways, sorry, kind of gone over my time limit. So the end, reviewed by me. Thank you for your time. And then here's the reference for that article. Thanks, and have a great day.